As everyone knows, we at the Designated Drinker Show are dedicated to raising the bar on craft cocktails. How do we do that? We strive to always introduce you to the most inspiring guests and entertain you with our intoxicating boozy banter, while Gina, as always, serves up her tips and tricks to crafting her delicious creative cocktail recipes. But now we need your help and just a little bit of your time. We'd love to hear what you think of the show and to find out what you want more of and even what you don't. So please head over to designateddrinker.show to complete our listener survey, because what you, our loyal listeners, want is exactly what we aim to deliver. I promise it will only take a few minutes of your time to complete the survey. And for doing so, you'll receive an exclusive invite to our Let's Get Twisted Cocktail Hour, a live online interactive event with me and Gina. We'll be serving up some fun times as we try to answer your questions, deal out a few fun cocktail facts, and of course, share plenty of good laughs. While Gina, as always, doles out her tips and tricks and shows us how to craft 3 amazing cocktails. Yep, 3. So head over to designateddrinker.show, dish out your thoughts, and we'll see you at the Let's Get Twisted Cocktail Hour. Now, the date and time will be determined by survey participation, so go do it today. And hell, share it with your friends, your family, clergy, postal worker, dog walker, I don't know. Anyone you know who appreciates a tasty cocktail and some intoxicating boozy banter. We really can't wait to hear from you. Welcome to the Designated Drinker Show, the podcast that's raising the bar on craft cocktails. I am your host, Louise Salas, and with me, as always, is my very, very talented friend, who's my very own R2-D2 and C3PO rolled up in one. She is the mixtress DC Gina.
Hi, Louise. I'd rather be C3PO, whatever his name is, because he's gold.
He is gold.
And I like that.
He is gold.
The little robot with the white and blue, it's nice, but it's not my style.
Not your style. You don't want to be a little short.
Nah. I'm more into the gold, maybe I'm an Emmy, I'm not sure.
There you go. Okay. Or Tony.
Or an Oscar.
There you go. So I have some fun
with
sci-fi.
A sex change. All right, I'm done. I'm done.
Yours will have boobies. So Gina, I have some fun sci-fi facts for you today. I know you can't wait.
Okay, this is going to be interesting. Go for it.
So I'm sure you've heard, "Beam me up, Scotty."
Yeah, of course.
But Captain Kirk never actually said that line. The closest he ever said, no one did. The closest to that line was, "Scotty, I have three to beam up," or "Scotty, I have 2 to beam up." He never said, "Beam me up, Scotty." It's the proof of the power of pulp culture, because we all believed it was real. Let's just keep moving, shall we? This fun fact is a testament to the time in which the original Star Trek was released. Initially, the NBC execs, of course the man, wanted to get rid of the guy with the pointy ears because they worried about his satanic appearance. And they're quoted saying, and I'm sure this wasn't in any media, I'm not sure, it's a quote from the internet, who knows it's real, that his appearance would scare the shit out of every child in America. It's crazy. I'm not afraid of Spock.
Yeah, I know. You ever seen Comic-Con? Yeah, that's like a thing. Anyway, keep going.
Maybe like the Vulcan pinch thing. I don't know what that is. Anyway, so I'm going to flip the script, literate, and go to one of my childhood faves, Star Wars.
Okay.
Did you know that Yoda originally was going to be a monkey?
Interesting.
So originally Yoda was supposed to be played by a monkey in a Yoda costume. I guess they did this on other movies. Apparently, a crew member who had previously worked on 2001: A Space Odyssey pointed at the apes that they used in the movie's opening were just a pain in the ass. They were really difficult to work with. Imagine that. I'm a monkey. You put me in a costume. I can't imagine being a happy camper. So this crew member's past experience convinced the Empire's filmmakers to fire the little Yoda monkey.
I'm dying to know how you're going to tie this into the guest.
Don't worry, I got one more. We got one more going. And we're going to go to my favorite Star Wars character, and that's Chewbacca. So apparently, while they were filming in the Redwood Forest in California, the actor apparently was Peter Mayhew. He played Chewie, and he had to be chaperoned while he was dressed in costume by bodyguards in brightly colored vests because they were worried about hunters actually shooting at him, thinking he was a bear. Or he was definitely a Bigfoot-like character. But isn't that funny? But they had to worry about hunters shooting the actual actor.
Well, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Also, that would be like right par for the course, like with what's that movie, Wizard of Oz, with all the crazy shit that happened on that set. Why not? Man, I missed my decade. I should have been alive like 60s, 70s. I would have been into it. Like some weird shit happened. They made, Star Wars. I don't know.
You forget that at that time you would have been barefoot and pregnant at home, and God forbid, no one would ever think that you'd be a business owner. But that's a whole nother story.
I was pregnant with sneakers bartending. So
yeah, that wouldn't have happened then.
So that happened, and people were like, "Gina, what happened to you?" I'm like, "What happened?" And they're like, "What's going on?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" I mean, I knew I was 8 months pregnant. I'm like, "Oh, this? Oh, that just happened. I don't know. Can I get you something to drink?" Anyway, keep going. I still stick with it. 60s, 70s, that's where I should have been.
Okay, so here's how I'm going to tie it in.
Go.
So all of this talk about out-of-this-world people bring me to today's designated drinkers. Yes, drinkers. So please welcome the owner of Dacha Beer Garden, Dmitri Chekaldin, and his beverage director, Jake Rice. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thank you for having us.
Very nice to be here.
That was quite the intro for them. I had to be out of this world experience.
Yeah,
I kind of like that. Yeah. That was a big one. I thought he was going to say that you guys were like on the show, or Jake was like a baby in an episode. So I don't know.
Jake actually paid Baby Yoda.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. He's like so young. I'm like, how the hell are you guys involved with Star Wars? But all right.
Would have been a good one.
Well, it's interesting. I feel like you have done your research because Star Trek is one of my favorite shows. When I came to this country, there were 3 shows that I got hooked on. Star Trek, which at the time was Next Generation. That's how old I am.
Picard.
And another show that is completely obscure and few people know about it, Northern Exposure.
That was a great show.
Which was one of the first sort of trailblazing shows that featured a gay character.
Yeah.
Back then. And Seinfeld,
Yeah.
Those and Star Trek, interestingly enough, featured George Costanza twice.
Did it?
Did you know that Jason Alexander played various alien characters in multiple Star Trek episodes?
The funny thing was, I was going to say, was he blue in these roles? But that's funny that you say he played an alien.
No, but he had like really weird eyebrows.
Oh, I'm gonna have to look.
Like in one of them. Yeah, he was like a sage person. And then also, like, very few people know this, but Sarah Silverman actually was in one of the episodes.
How old was she? She's pretty young still.
Well, yeah, but yeah.
Well, young compared to us.
It was my nightly, ritual to have dinner and watch the Star Trek Picard. Also, Beam Me Up is very sexual. Like, that's just like...
You know what? In this day and age, are we even allowed to say that anymore? I'd be like, "Oh, beam me up." Oh, I'm offended. I'm fully offended.
And in the line I delivered, it was 3. So we're having multiple partners in my version of that.
I know. Beam me up 3. Thanks.
Make it so. That's right.
Dimitri, I never thought in a million years that this was going to be how it went, but I'm into it now. Now I'm like, do it.
Blue chicks. I'm
super into this. Okay, sorry. Tell our listeners, I want to know about the beer. You starting Dacha and like being a trailblazer on 9th Street and like how that all went for you. Because I think a lot of people don't realize that he was like the first. He was one of the firsts.
Yeah, Central Shore had only one bar really at the time. It was Ivy and Coney, the dive bar. We were second really on 7th Street. The parking lot was a drug den before we came in there. The building across from us was not even built. It was pretty rough. We had like shootings in the neighborhood, where you had to tell patrons to down, 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 down,
and the
pop, pop, pop. It's like that was fun.
Welcome to DC.
Yeah, but then it just started changing quickly. Yeah. And when Liz made her appearance on that wall, that was a seminal moment. That same year, Uber executives reached out to us and told us that we were the top destination for Uber in Washington.
That's
DC.
amazing, right? That's amazing.
It was amazing, yeah, and also humbling because it was a lot of work. It was just a shitload of work. I come from a totally non-industry. Like I come from a corporate world. The certain things are done differently in the corporate world.
Like what? Sorry, what did you do, or what do you still do that and own your business?
I was in finance. I worked for a ginormous telecom company. Trading things. Very like sort of white collar, by the book environment. When you start your bar,
yeah,
and you hear people making out in the port-a-potty and everyone is cheering on, I guess it's also by the book, but it's just a different book.
Yeah, it's called The Book of Making Money Different.
That's right.
I find it really amazing what you did though, because like you opened out there, it was like Wild West kind of situation, and then like now people are like, beer gardens and stuff pop up, and then like they follow his recipe, which is kind of interesting. So that is a true testament. But like owning an outdoor bar, and if you're listening to if you're listening to this podcast and you think that you want to own an outdoor bar, go work in one day on 95 degrees.
Yeah.
And then do you really want that outdoor bar? Because
people only notionally want to be outside. Yeah. We were really first in DC to start table-side ordering. And I believe we were also first, way before COVID occurred, to use the QR codes. So that's the payoff of the corporate world. You bring in ideas how to improve the business
or solve problems. Yeah,
on a different level. Yeah,
solve problems. Tell our listeners how that all started when you and I spoke. I thought it was I couldn't believe how you opened this bar.
Oh yeah, it's so we came down to Central Shore to meet up with the real estate agent, and we were looking. He brought us to a property where Compass Coffee is right now. So we toured this cool warehouse, and I was like, no, that's not what we need. We need a lot. And we step outside on 7th Street, and I point down the street to that chain link fence parking lot, and I'm like, that's what we need. And my business partner goes, but it's not for rent. And I said, well, let's go and ask. And we literally walked into this Chinese takeout with bulletproof glass. And they told us, that the owner is not there, but he will be back in 4 hours. He was actually there. He was just taking a nap. And then he comes out. Like this guy, our age, in his like early 40s. And at the time he was younger. It was 8 years ago. Jeez, I keep forgetting how time flies. And he comes out and he speaks like 2.5 words in English. And he thought that we wanted to rent a parking space. And I said, no, all parking spaces. And he was like, oh. And he was like, how much? So this and that. And I blurted out something. And, we 2 months later, we had a lease. And who's better to negotiate with Chinese than Russians?
Yeah.
So, there you go.
That's a UN right there. I like that. That's a good meeting.
Yep. That's exactly how it flowed.
Then you also worked out of almost nothing. When you set up, it was like...
Oh, yeah. It looked like nothing, but we spent all our savings, everything. I think I had like maybe $100 left in my bank account when we opened up.
Good Lord.
Yeah. It was, it adds up quickly. Small things.
But you worked out of like a pod, right?
Yeah. We had a beer trailer that this sketchy dude from Florida made and rolled in. And as he like maneuvered it into this lot, he goes, well, my work is done. And he pulls out this, what is it called? Bush? The beer? The Bush?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
Bush Light.
And I'm from St. Louis. Yes, it's definitely Bush.
And he like cracks it with one hand, like, professionally. And I was like, well, where are you going to stay? He goes, well, I'm not staying here. Devil's land.
I love Dmitri's Southern accent.
This is the best ever. Let's just have a whole episode of Dmitri doing Southern accents. I love it.
And then, and for our office and storage was pods container, which was also an adventure because they had those machines that roll it in, and the lot was gravel. And so the pods guy, got stuck in there. Like he plopped the container, but then he couldn't pull out. And so we had to like skedaddle and find some like, truck to pull him out. It was an ordeal. And then port-a-potties, 5 port-a-potties, and they were aptly named "Gotta Go." So they were like bright green port-a-potties, like neon green, and they were like modern ones, with the faucets, with the pedal thing.
Yeah.
Oh my God, those porta-potties.
Fancy.
I mean, I would never wish anybody to learn how to manage porta-potties en masse, so to speak. When you hear from your manager, 5 is stopped, locking up.
Oh no.
And then another shitty story about the porta. I'm Sunday morning, like this guy came, sucked it all out, whatever, and and then I hear him in the background because I'm like setting up the bar, and he pulls up to the bar and he like holds a phone in his hand, and I'm like, and he goes, somebody lost an iPhone. I said, where? He goes, well, down the hole. I'm like, great, keep it.
Yeah.
And he
tried
goes,
to hand it to you.
And he goes, thanks. I fish 5, 6 a week. Keeps me going.
Oh,
I'm sure.
That's gross.
that's terrible.
That's gross.
Can you imagine like drinking a nice beer and then like, you're like, hey, Bo. And then it just like falls in and you go like, ah.
All right, so I'm a back pocket person. I
Yes.
hope I have my phone. Not gonna lie,
I've had it happen.
I've lost a couple of cell phones that way.
Yep.
There
I
you
lost
go.
mine at an airport.
It's always been a number 1, not a number 2.
Exactly.
However, the phone is usually broken, and that's the end of that. So
Yeah.
there's a little known fact. I have my cell phone in my pocket. No, I don't right now, but
Yeah.
it's terrible. Anyway, that is literally why you don't want to open an outdoor bar. No,
Anyway.
that's why you have to really want to be in this business. Like, I give you kudos for that. That's awesome and fucked up.
We did like beer though. Like I am passionate about beer, so that's that was kind of. And we partnered up with Weinstefana, one of my favorite breweries, the oldest brewery in the world, and it was really an experience when we went to see the brewery, and they gave us a VIP tour. It was cool, very cool.
When does Jake enter the picture?
I came into the picture in
the first
I think
year?
late March, I
Yeah,
believe.
yeah.
That sounds about right. Right after the COVID thing was winding down. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I came on with the relaunch of Jackie, which is like the indoor component at the Navy Yard. It was a really fun atmosphere, and it was a really cool concept just because it was going for exactly what I wanted. It was kind of like a hip, fun, like approachable location, which is kind of like a step down from what I was doing before. As far as the pressure was involved, but we still keep it as fun and innovative as we can, for sure.
Yeah, sure, Jake. No pressure. Just 400 people descending on your head right after every game.
Oh yes.
Yeah, no pressure at all.
Yep.
Jake, I hear you. It's different pressure.
Yeah, it's different kind of pressure for sure. Yeah.
It's fun. It's more fun. But I want to the reason why I was like, let's get to Jake, because I want to make your cocktail.
All
I
right.
like This cocktail sounds delicious. I mean, mine sounds serious, and yours is like super delicious. So I'm kind of like into both.
Yeah, so listeners know we're getting two. This is a 2-for episode. You're gonna get 2 recipes.
Yeah, it's definitely on the tiki side of things, but I mean that's kind of like that's what I enjoy the most. I think I really like rum. I really like the over the top gaudiness of tiki bars in general. I think one day it's kind of something that I want to do. So. I just wanted to throw some pizzazz out there.
All right, let's call the ingredients. You ready to make one?
Am I ready to make one?
I'm going to make it.
I don't think I can make one.
I'm going to make it. You call the ingredients, and I'm going to do it. All right?
Sounds good. Yeah.
All right, tell me. What are we doing?
Let me get it up.
There's a lot of sexual innuendos going here. He's got to get it up.
I know.
We've got like
It's a good cocktail.
I'm telling you, I should have been single when this bar opened.
You ready?
I am ready for you.
2 ounces of pineapple juice.
Okay. How much orange juice?
1.5 ounces.
Okay, because I have fresh in there. All right, so 2 ounces. I'm making 2, so I'm going to hold on. Go ahead.
3/4 ounce Aperol.
Yep.
1/2 ounce Jamaican rum.
I do have a Puerto Rican dry rum. Is that okay?
That works.
Okay, cool. And if it didn't work, I'm going to be like, well, it'll be a little bit sweeter.
And then 1/2 ounce of banana liqueur.
We have the 99, so she lives in Alexandria.
There you go.
And here's my PSA for everybody.
Perfect.
Hey, ABC store, please start carrying other stuff in Alexandria. A lot of rich people live here that spend more money. If you carried more shit.
Went to 4 ABC stores, and they kept saying, "Oh, we have it."
It smells so good. It smells so good.
Yeah. It's a nice like low ABV cocktail. You can drink 100 of them in a day. Probably won't feel it.
100. All right, let's do that.
That sounds good.
Jake, I have a question. Do you want this fully up or rocks, or what am I doing?
Poured preferably in a wine glass over ice, but
Great.
as long as it's over ice, you can put it in whatever you want, really.
I got it. Done. Would you hire me for my shake?
Of course. Gina, you're legendary in DC.
She's
what are you
legendary
gonna do?
everywhere, just so you know.
Nah. This smells super delicious, by the way. I love that pineapple Aperol blend. It's so deliciously refreshing. It's one thing I have to say. Thank God for those Venetians.
Aperol's definitely a good introductory Amaro. It doesn't have that abrasive bitterness, but it just generally has enough to get people interested.
I mean, I think so.
In the category.
Okay, so I'm gonna pour this out. And am I garnishing or am I not garnishing?
I would garnish it with a orange wheel, but hey, it's your world. We're just living in it.
I have a Tangelo. What do you think of that?
Boom.
I used Tangelo juice and not orange juice because I just had that fresh. So I'm gonna go with it today. I'm going full on. Very nice. Okay. So I'm gonna do them in. Is that okay?
Yeah, go for it.
I'm not a big fan of them on the.
Yeah, I'm not either.
Do I pass the test? Is it the right color?
Perfect. Looks beautiful.
Perfect.
Okay. So cheers. Cheers.
Try it out.
Cheers.
Ooh, it smells so nice on the nose.
This is delicious.
Awesome.
These would be dangerous. You could literally drink 100 of these in a day.
Eventually, we'll have you back when we have in-person guests again.
Yeah.
And we'll make more drinks. We're just right now it's it's what we're gonna talk about next, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So,
but wait, before we jump into that, Gina, where are they going to go to get these recipes?
Oh, you're going to go to designateddrinker.show for our tips, tricks, how-tos, a link to Dacha, how to get there, where to go, Uber destinations. Dimitri's paying for your Uber, everybody, so give us that code.
Yes.
And you can go see Jake manages people behind the shtick, right?
Oh, yeah.
At 2 locations, right? 7th Street and Navy Yard.
Yep.
What's a Nats game like with these? I'm telling you, I'd drink 1,000 of these and then go to the Nats game and then throw up after I drink a beer. Because I'm like, I did so much of the cream
Nats
drink.
games are an animal house.
Yeah. And that's okay.
Like a good Nats game, it gets busy.
Yeah, it gets pretty wild.
But it's
Give me your World Series
really
numbers. Give me one day World Series. Go.
The World Series.
Just guess count.
Was
Guess count.
my experience of being inside of a zombie movie because people didn't care. Like lines, doors, barricades. Like, who cares? Like, people would just crawl over whatever they could and get to the bar. And we have our lead bartender, Andrew, really cool guy, Jake's bestie.
Oh yeah.
He's like, the tickets, we already used the QR codes at the time. So like the tickets pour down, and like Andrew's standing on a pile of tickets on the floor. And he goes, we only have one beer left, like one kind. But the drinks are like, oh, I'll have this or I'll have that. And so we just started like putting that one beer at the end of the night on the bar, just, whether you paid for it or not, because it was just so busy. It was crazy. We sold out of everything.
Wow.
Everything.
When you did, so I know some of the numbers because my friends own a lot of the restaurants over there too.
Yeah.
When I heard one of the numbers, I was like, "That's not fucking real." And then they shared that number. I was like, "Did any of your staff come back the next day?" And they go, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "If I got that much tip money in like literally one night, see you, sweetheart. I'm going right to fucking France, and I'm gonna be there for the next 6 months, bullshitting around." With all my friends,
Oh, yeah.
if I'm a 22-year-old bartender at that time, I'm like never coming back.
Yeah, we have a lot of young kids that have. I look at some of the numbers that we pull, and I'm like, oh my god, if I was this age making this kind of money, this would be. I don't know if I ever would have left.
I know.
But the thing is, it's kind of a two-way street. You want to dance, you got to pay the piper. So it's people do make a lot of money, but you have to hustle. You have to really, really work a lot.
Yeah. I mean,
in our business, in our environment.
Yeah.
Because the volumes can be really high and it's ups and downs, and so, on a Monday or a Tuesday, you could be standing there twirling your fingers, but then comes, let's say Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and if it's a game day, or if it's a doubleheader with the DC United playing, well,
You're going to get your ass handed to you.
buckle up.
During our busiest period, it was not uncommon for bartenders to work like 15-hour days. It was pretty intense.
Yeah.
oh my God.
But they knew that we just have to push through it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think people understand or appreciate the labor that goes into working in the food and beverage industry.
Well, now, like, so we're having you guys on because we want to talk about like our current state, right? So like, World Series happens, and that's amazing, and like everybody has the best days of their lives, and now you like enter COVID, and you're in this like perpetual state of unsure, right? You might have a great
Guidances, yeah.
Yeah, you might have this amazing weekend where you're like, oh, we're back to normal. Here's my number. And then somebody says something on, I don't know, NPR, and DC freaks out, and then you have 8 people, right?
Yep.
And then they're like, oh, back to normal. That's my number. And then something happens, and you're like, okay, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
Mike, I guess my question to you is, and then you have the expectation of the guest.
Yep.
That's like, why aren't you guys fully staffed? Why can't you open 7 days a week? Why does
it take me longer to get a cocktail?
Right. Why does it take me longer to get a cocktail? And the question is, as we're coming back and we're talking to other owners and operators about it, right?
And to you.
How do you, no, and when I want to know their opinion, right? So how do you navigate, how do you want your guests, or how would you approach this to navigate the new worlds of restaurants and bars? And you're primarily, known for obviously a good time and partying and stuff. So, you have this, they're coming out again, right? And I'm not saying that like, I don't care about your policy of masks and all that shit. What I'm asking is, give me, your guest comes in, what are you looking for from them other than buying drinks?
I mean, I just want to, before we get into it, I was there. I was working when they didn't really give us a lot of lead time into the whole like reopening of like restaurants. I remember, Dmitri, it was like a week or so that they were like, oh, by the way, next week it's going to be all bar services open, no masks. Like they just let the floodgates go.
Yep.
That did not give us a whole lot of time to staff appropriately, like you were talking about. So we had, I mean, it was 8 hours straight of guests being like, why can't I sit down? Why can't I sit at that table?
Right.
Everything looks so empty. And it was just the same conversation over and over and over again. Like, we want to make sure that you have a great experience too. We're not trying to be difficult about this. It's just, we can't facilitate good service to you with the level of staff we have. And it was unfortunate because, like, being a hospitality professional, and I'm sure you understand this too, we want to make sure every guest has a good time, whether they're seated or not. The experience starts at when they walk into the space. So it was very difficult for us to, like, come to terms with that and find solutions to get around. Once we all started getting used to the new normal a little bit, I think guests started realizing that this was a broader issue. It wasn't just like a problem with our location, but it was a problem with, like, the industry kind of as a whole. And I didn't know many friends or colleagues or coworkers that didn't experience this at their location either. It was kind of like a very widespread issue with this businesses not being able to staff appropriately at the time. Yeah, I think that the closer we get to, like, putting this behind us, the more people are starting to understand a little bit that this is the situation we're in.
Yeah.
I was just listening this morning to Elliot in the morning on my way in, right? Yep. And this guy's on there, and he's like bitching to Elliot about Taco Bell not being open at 1 o'clock in the morning, and they can't make you tacos. We don't have enough staff, and nobody understands, like. And this guy's just blah blah blah, and everything's open, and why are people going back to work, and just losing his mind over a taco. So Elliot's like, I don't know. People chime in, if you're listening to this, and like some people from DC chime in. And they start talking about that they're having staffing issues. And I don't know if you guys are experiencing this, but I have a question. My question to you is, are you experiencing the same thing that other people are doing, where people are coming back to work for a shorter amount of time, and then they're like, you know what, this isn't for me anymore after being off for a year? And what I guess my question really is if it's happening to you, tell me what your perspective is, and share with our listeners. What is your perspective of how we either approach this from, a service like way of, like, maybe we are going to do QSR codes and have less people working, or, how do you entice the new generation to come into a business that was just so publicly ripped apart on international news, saying how vulnerable we are and how terrible it is, and how there's no insurance, there's no what are we doing? What are you guys going to do?
Before you guys enter this, I'm going to give you a statistic on that. So I recently read that the turnover rate in the United States for employment is 2.2%. Now, what the norm is, I don't know, but they were saying that was more than double, is at least what this article says. It was more than double across the United States. 2.2. Within the food and beverage industry, the turnover rate is 5.7%.
It's higher now.
It's almost 3 times. So this is a really recent article. Yeah. That's where, and that, based on today's standards, that turnover rate within just the food and beverage industry is almost 3 times that of the norm, which is already more than 2 times higher than before pandemic time.
Do you remember what the prophet told Neo? Everything that has the beginning has an end.
Yep.
So I would segue from this that, the status quo, the old way of doing business is done. And the sooner we realize this all, the better. I think it's absolutely fair for people to come back to work, as you said, work a little bit and be like, hey, not mine, not my shit anymore. Done. Great. It's one of the beauties of this country is that it's a free world here, filled with upwardly mobile people. You're not tied up.
Yeah.
So that's the progress here in the United States. So I truly believe that it's a good opportunity for the industry to revise its practices, invent new things, and deliver the experience. People will never stop eating, talking, and having sex. Let's just get it out there.
It's true.
So it's true. So it's like either way, we want to go out and have a drink and advertise ourselves. Want to be seen, want to see and to be seen. So I think how do you lure the new generation, you said?
Yeah. Like
And
how
that's
we
exactly the point. It's, you have to just keep telling people what is it that you offer. And nowadays, when people come in, they're more discerning. They ask questions. And so I would encourage every young person who's looking for a job, as they're studying or as they're moving up in their career, ask questions. Do you offer health insurance? What else do you offer? We do. We offer also Lyft rides. So
That's cool.
That's smart.
The safe ride home. Lots of things. A lot of restaurants nowadays offer perks. You just have to ask. But as far as one thing I would say, in return, we, the Generation X, would like to ask the millennials and the Zs that if you come and you interview and you make a commitment, then make a commitment. Don't be a flake. Like, that's just stupid. Like, why are you wasting everybody's time? Ask questions, get hired, and then put a little bit of effort into it. It's like, yeah, any job sucks. You have to put in at least some amount of time to understand for yourself and learn how to work. Like back in my day, it was really looked negatively. If you showed your resume and that resume said, 4 months here, 3 months there, 5 months there, that was a no-no. You had to put at least a year into whatever you decided to put in yourself. So that would be, ask for perks, but then, return something. Yeah, but return a commitment.
Back in your day, you didn't have shoes and you had to go uphill both ways, right? To go to school, it was barefoot and uphill both ways.
Jake,
I grew up in the Soviet Union. We had only left shoes.
Only left.
Only left shoes.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of truth. I feel there's a lot of truth to what you just said about that commitment. And I mean, I understand what you're saying. You come in, you interview, we hire you, and then show. I hear what you're saying. We have a lot of listeners within the United States and without and not in the United States, and I'm not sure if the same is in Australia or other, where they're having the same labor issues that we're having here. And that is a fair thing to say. And that might be something that is global too, of do you come, you come to work, you make a commitment, you show up, even show up for the 2 weeks for training and see what it's about before you just no-show. And then that maybe another candidate that you liked, but you like this one better, could have had that position. I think it's
like Indecision 2000,
yeah, it's very
Jon
fair.
Stewart.
It's very
Make
fair.
up your mind already,
Yeah, it's very fair. On that note, the next drink's going to make a lot of sense.
Okay, let's do it.
Yeah, we're going to make a Federalist. So I was thinking about you guys a bit, and I was like, well, what am I going to make? They make a lot of different stuff. I know Jake makes great drinks. I don't need to have something different, but I was like, I love this cocktail. It's one of my favorites. It's made with tequila. And it's basically, really, it's a tequila Manhattan, right?
Right up my alley.
So here's an easy drink. So if you want to be fancy like Jake with less juice because you don't want to go out and buy it, but you can have all the ingredients like Jake has, and you can start adding to your repertoire. You can, and you're at home and doing this. You're gonna do you're gonna get reposado tequila, and you get anyone that speaks to you or your pocket. And if you're a baller and you want to buy the most expensive, have at it. But you're going to use 2 ounces of tequila. And I'm making 2 again. And then you're going to do 1 ounce sweet vermouth. These drinks are personal.
Love vermouth.
Yeah, drinks are personal. You have to enjoy what.
I'm so partial to vermouth. I drink it sometimes over ice, just straight up.
Like sweet or dry, or a 50-50.
Both.
Love it.
Depends on my mood.
Love it. You can put a dash of orange bitters in there. Whatever bitters you kind of like. I'm just going to use Angostura because that's what we have right now. So I'm going to put 1, 2 in there. An orange bitters would be really nice and lovely as well. And then we're just going to shake this. We're going to shake it in a stirring glass. We're going to stir it over fresh ice. And then we're going to just strain it out. And then this drink is garnished I think it's an indecisive garnish, I like to say, because some people put a cherry in it, some people put a lime in it, some people put a cherry and a lime in it. For me, I'm a really, I kind of like that, just the lime peel. But, you know, again, you'll make it your own at home and you'll enjoy it.
Never a lime and a coconut, though?
Never lime in it. I don't know. Maybe a Federalist and a coconut shell would be great if we're traveling. Are we traveling? When do we lift the traveling ban and start doing the road show again?
Absolutely.
I mean, I'm ready.
That would be the dream.
I know, right? I'm like, Jake, I've been stationary for like 18 months. I'm feeling depressed. I feel.
Cabin fever, huh?
Yes, it's like,
yeah.
And I have my own bars to like escape to, but I'm gonna just pour this in yours because this is looking short. There we go. Louise has giant martini glasses here, so even though I'm pouring in a full 3 ounces, it looks like there's like a drop in there. So we got TGI Friday glasses here. So we know what Louise does. We know what Louise does on the weekends. All right, so we're gonna atomize a little lime twist in there. And do you want the cherry? Yeah. I'll give you the cherry. I'm gonna give you the full experience.
Yeah. So everyone knows we're usually at last call, but because
maybe we'll do one at Dacha. Maybe we'll be invited to do one there.
Yeah. We're usually
Absolutely.
last
You are
call.
invited.
Yeah, thank
Always.
you. Yeah, we should have called you this morning. We had a little change in schedule and ended up at my house.
All right, so we're putting in a cherry now. So now we have the indecisive garnish of the Federalist, and we're gonna give it to Louise, only because it's her house.
Beautiful.
That probably tastes so good.
Oh, it does. This is really light. Like, I mean,
That's lovely.
another one that could be very dangerous. Very dangerous.
Yeah, but you know what I was just thinking about? You guys should dump this in one of your frozen machines. Or something fun like that. You should make this frozen. This?
I know. We've been looking to get a frozen drink machine for
Listen
a
to me.
minute now. We want to.
How you don't have one in that Airstream bar of yours, I don't know. But this?
Yeah.
And she keeps saying this. She means Jake's cocktail.
What if we make another small, tiny Airstream and make it only frozen?
Only frozen drinks.
Yeah, that would be interesting, wouldn't it, Dmitri?
From the side of it.
That'd be great.
I could just bring Suburbia right to your Airstream. We can put them next to each other.
You can't not like frozen drinks. It's one of those things, like, if you see it, you're just like, you have to get excited for it.
Would that be like Daburbia?
Daburbia. Yes, we could have Daburbia and have a party one night.
Daburbia.
One night only, featuring Daburbia.
So if Gina and Dmitri had a baby.
Centerville Martini.
I mean, I'm into that.
It'd be frozen.
Totally. All right, so if you have missed any of our tips, tricks, how-tos, how to get to Dacha, again, Dmitri is giving the code for Lyft, not Uber. Is that right?
Only to a
we're going to have that at designateddrinker.show.
Wait, what?
Designateddrinker.show is where you're going for all the information from this episode. So that leads me to my last question of the day. So now this is how I know if you listen to our podcast or not. You ready? And I'm gonna do an eeny meeny based on this. Who's gonna answer this question? Or should we have both?
Both.
We'll have both. We'll have both answers. So in this day and age, everybody identifies themselves with some sort of spirited mythical creature or a spirited animal, and you might identify yourself with a ladybug because they're red and black, and that's a really big color thing for you. And you're like, oh, I just love them because they can fly and survive the ice ages, right? If you could be one spirit ingredient, now this could be for food or drink, what would you be and why?
Oh my God, that's so easy.
Go. What's your answer?
Campari.
Okay. Why?
I'm sweet, but I'm spicy.
I mean bitter.
I love that answer. Bitter.
I'm bitter. Yeah. I'm sweet and bitter at the same time. I'm a walking dichotomy. That's true.
Duality of man right here.
That's right. I'm a cat that is locked up in a dog's body.
That's a good one.
Jake, what's your answer?
Mine is, if it wasn't clear before, it's definitely rum. It just comes in like a bunch of different varieties, flavors, expressions. There's blackstrap, Jamaican. I just feel like I'm a fairly moody person. Probably matches up with rum a little bit. So I have my highs and lows too, you know? So
I'm just going to assume you might need a
If
little
you
more
dressed Jake as a
sunblock, though.
pirate, he would be like
I'd be a great pirate. Yeah.
Like a Caribbean vagabond. Like, hey, there's
Caribbean
Jock.
vagabond. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Also known as a houseless human. I like it. I'm totally into it.
All right,
Jake,
guys.
Dmitri, it's been amazing, right?
Yes.
Thank you for
so
coming.
much.
So if our listeners
Same
didn't
here.
walk away with the fact that we all have new rules being as patrons in restaurants, stop being an asshole, know that they're all working very, very hard under very difficult conditions that are ever changing and are always trying to do the best that they can. They love you as a guest and want to keep you, so don't be an asshole.
It's great advice.
Cheers to that.
Cheers. Thanks, guys.
Cheers.
Cheers, guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
The Designated Drinker Show is produced by Missing Link, a podcast media company that is dedicated to connecting people to intelligent, engaging, and informative content. Also in the Missing Link lineup of podcasts is Roger That, a podcast dedicated to guiding you through the haze of dementia, led by skilled caregivers Bobby and Mike Carducci. Now, if you're looking for a whole new way to enjoy the theater, check out Between Acts, an immersive audio theater podcast experience. Each episode takes you on a spellbinding journey through the works of newfound playwrights, from dramas to comedies and everything in between. Find Missing Link's League of Podcasts on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you find your podcasts. Please don't forget to subscribe, download, and review the shows. Your review helps our shows reach new audiences. To find out more about Missing Link, visit missinglink.company. That's missinglink.company.